review solving equations, and the first thing that we see here is a two-step equation, which requires us to first of all move any addition and subtraction. We're going to move the addition and the subtraction, and then the second step will require us to multiply or divide. So as we look at our first example here, we have 3x minus 8 equals 4. So the first thing we see is the minus, the subtraction of 8. That's going to move across the equal sign to become a plus 8. And we're now going to end up with 3x equals 12. At that point, we're ready to multiply or divide. 3 times x equals 12. So we're going to need to undo that multiplication with division so that x is equal to 4. We certainly need to check our work. So 3 times 4 minus 8, that's 12 minus 8 is 4, and that's correct. As we look at example 2, we also see an addition of 3 being added to our negative 2m. We do need to subtract the negative 3 to be able to get rid of it from over here. So negative 2m is now going to be equal to 4. I now need to divide. Now notice I'm dividing again because 2m, negative 2 is being multiplied by m, but I also have to keep that negative sign as I divide. And so m is negative 2. We want to again check our work, and 2 negatives will make a positive 4 here, and 4 plus 3 is 7. So it does check. Now notice as we look at examples 3 and 4, you see that you have some parentheses. And we're going to need to get rid of those parentheses first. And in order to do that, we're going to use the distributive property. We're going to distribute first. And once we've done that, we're going to be left with a two-step equation. So we'll be ready to move the addition and subtraction. And then we'll be ready to multiply or divide. And of course, we'll check. So, as we look at this first example, we want to distribute the 3 because it's sitting beside the parentheses. So 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 1 is 3. Now that I've taken care of the parentheses and they're gone, I need to go ahead and make a move. I need to move that 3 over and subtract it, leaving me with 3x is equal to negative 18, because negative 15 minus 3 is negative 18. I'm now ready to divide by my 3, and I end up with an answer of x is equal to negative 6. Certainly want to check that, make sure that it works. And again, with the order of operations, we know that we'll take the negative 6 plus 1 and do that first. So that's negative 3 times negative 5 is negative 15, and that does check. So we move on to example 4. We see the parentheses again, so that's going to tell us that we need to distribute. We have the 2m, and we also are going to have 2 times 3, which is 6. At that point, I am ready to move my 6 that's being added, and I'm going to subtract it, giving me 0. 6 minus 6 is 0. At that point, I'm ready to divide, so I'll divide by the 2. And m is 0. Now I do need to check my work, so 2 parentheses, 0 plus 3 equals 6. So 2 times 3 is 6, and that does check. Now let's notice the next 2 examples. These examples not only have parentheses, but they also have something additional added to the left-hand side of the equation. So this is going to require, first of all, the distribution that we did earlier. But now we're going to collect like terms. Now this is only done, on each side of the equal sign. So collect like terms on either side of the equal sign. We do not make any moves here. Our step 3 is to make the move, and we move only using addition or subtraction. And final step is still going to be to multiply or divide. So let's take a look at example number 5. The first thing we see is the distribution. So 3 is going to multiply by x, and 3 is going to multiply by 1. We leave the negative 8. Remember, 3 was not distributed to negative 8 because he's not in the group. At this point, I have this 3x that's kind of all alone, but then I have a plus 3 minus 8. I know that 3 minus 8 is negative 5, so I need to combine those terms so that I only have one variable term and one constant term on either side of my equation. Of course, the 4 doesn't have anything with it. So I'm now down to step 3, which is to undo this subtraction by addition. So I'm going to take that minus 5 and add over to the 4. So now I'm going to have 3x equals 9. I'm ready to divide. So x is now 3. I should go back and check my work. So 3 times 3 plus 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. So that did check. And again, guys, you can put that straight into the calculator. As we move over to number 6, notice that the 5m is in front, but it's not the number that's going to be distributed. 5m is just going to come straight down. It's the negative 2 that's sitting beside the parentheses. So negative 2 times m is going to be negative 2m, and negative 2 times positive 3 is going to be a negative 6. I'm now rid of the parentheses, so I'm ready to combine like terms. You'll notice on the left-hand side of the equation, I do have a 5m minus a 2m, which would leave me 3m. So I'm going to combine those two terms, and everything else just comes down. One variable, one constant on either side is the max that you should have after this step. I'm now ready to move, so I'm going to add over my 6. 3m is going to now equal 12, and I'm ready to divide. So m is now equal to 4. At that point, I'm checking my work. 5 times 4 is 20, minus 2 times 4 plus 3, which is 14, because 4 plus 3 is 7. So 20 minus 14 is 6, and that goes check.